I thought my 11-year-old daughter was just rebelling. Acting out, failing school, and throwing my criminal past right back in my face. But tonight, when I found her room empty and her window wide open, I realized the terrifying truth. She isn't throwing my past in my face, she's being hunted by it. And the note she left on her desk proves she just walked straight into a trap set by a ghost from my prison days. My daughter is 11 years old, and she is quite literally the light of my life. But lately, something in our home has shifted into a cold, suffocating darkness. It started with simple things: homework left untouched on her desk, the kitchen trash overflowing, and her dirty laundry scattered across the cold tile of the bathroom floor instead of in the hamper. But those minor annoyances quickly spiraled into something far more sinister as her grades plummeted and her quiet demeanor transformed into violent, unpredictable rage. Whenever I try to enforce basic ground rules by taking away her phone, her TV, or her tablet, she snaps, slamming doors hard enough to rattle the window panes and throwing household objects at the walls. The worst part isn't the broken plates or the dented drywall. It's the weapon she uses against me every time I try to step in as a father. She knows my past, and she isn't afraid to twist the knife deep into my chest. I barely finished high school, spent my youth running the streets as a delinquent, and served actual time behind bars before she was born. Every time I attempt to correct her, she looks at me with ice in her eyes and sneers, reminding me that I am a nobody who spent time in a cell, asking who I am to preach about her future. The truth is, when I look at her right now, I see the ghost of my younger self, and that realization fills me with pure horror, because I know exactly how much pain lies at the end of that road. Admitting that I am failing her is a pill I refuse to swallow, especially if it means sending her back to live with her mother. Her mother always possessed the firm, unyielding discipline that I lacked. I was always content being the fun parent, the soft buddy who let things slide because I just wanted her to love me. But my soft approach has backfired, and during her last explosive tantrum, the desperation drove me to a place I swore I would never go. In a moment of blind panic, I unbuckled my belt and threatened to strike her, and even though I would never lay a hand on her, the mere fact that I used that threat chilled me to the bone, reminding me of the exact abusive discipline that ruined my own childhood and failed to straighten me out. Horrified by my own actions, I retreated into the silence of the living room, letting the hours pass until midnight struck and the house was dead silent. Driven by a crushing sense of guilt, I walked down the dim hallway to her room, intending to knock softly, apologize, and tell her how much I love her despite everything. I turned the brass doorknob slowly, pushing the door inward, only to feel a blast of icy midnight air hit my face as the curtains billowed wildly into the room. The window was thrown wide open, her bed was completely empty, and lying front and center on her desk was a black leather journal, open to a page covered in frantic, blood-red ink detailing a list of local addresses and a single chilling sentence: He told me what you did in prison, Dad, and now I'm finishing your job. A cold sweat broke out across my neck as I stared at the crimson ink on the page, the handwriting jagged and frantic. Nothing like the neat cursive my daughter had practiced for years. I grabbed the journal, my hands shaking so violently I nearly dropped it, and scanned the list of locations: an abandoned rail yard, a condemned warehouse down near the river, and finally, a house on Elm Street that belonged to my old cellmate, Marcus. Marcus was the man who took the fall for a botched robbery 15 years ago. The man who explicitly promised me on the day he was sentenced that he would make me pay the moment he ever walked free. I had assumed he was still serving his 20-year sentence, but as I sprinted out the front door into the freezing rain, the horrible truth began to crystallize in my mind. My daughter's sudden rebellion, her cruel taunts, her failing grades, and her uncharacteristic rage weren't just teenage angst or an echo of my own troubled youth. She was being manipulated by a predator who knew every single detail of my darkest secrets. She hadn't run away because she hated me. She had been lured out into the storm under the belief that she was protecting me. Or worse, that she was fulfilling a legacy I had desperately tried to bury. As I fired up my truck's engine and tore down the flooded streets toward Marcus's last known address, the sound of my own heartbeat hammered in my ears like a countdown clock. Knowing that if I didn't reach her before the shadow of my past consumed her, I would lose the only light I had left in this world, forever. The rain pelted the windshield like a barrage of tiny ice needles as I slammed my foot onto the gas pedal, the old truck's engine screaming in protest against the night. My knuckles turned white against the steering wheel while my mind reeled, piecing together the terrifying puzzle of the last few months. Every cruel word she had spewed, every failing grade, every door slammed in my face. It wasn't just adolescent rebellion. Marcus had somehow gotten to her. He had been dripping poison into her ear, feeding her twisted half-truths about my time in prison, turning my own daughter against me while luring her deeper into his web. He knew that taking my life wouldn't hurt me half as much as taking hers would. I rounded the corner onto Elm Street, the tires screeching on the slick asphalt as the truck hydroplaned before catching traction. The house at the end of the block was a dilapidated, two-story relic with boarded-up windows and an overgrown lawn that looked dead even in the rain. As I killed the headlights and coasted to a stop by the curb, a sudden flicker of light caught my eye from the second-floor window. A soft, amber glow, like the flame of an old kerosene lamp. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I reached beneath the driver's seat, my fingers wrapping around the cold, heavy iron of the tire iron I kept stowed away. I had promised myself I would never step back into the dark world I left behind. But as I stepped out into the freezing storm, I knew I would burn the whole world down to bring my daughter home. The front door of the decaying house hung slightly off its hinges, creaking softly with every gust of wind that swept through the dead trees outside. I slipped inside, the air thick with the suffocating smell of mildew, rot, and stale tobacco smoke. Every step I took on the warped hardwood floors threatened to give away my position, so I hugged the shadows along the wall, my breathing shallow, my senses dialed into absolute overdrive. From somewhere upstairs, I heard the faint, muffled sound of a girl crying a small, desperate whimper that cut through the silence like a blade to my heart. It was her. I bounded up the stairs 2 at a time, discarding caution for speed, and threw open the door at the end of the narrow hallway. The room was illuminated by a single lantern sitting on an overturned wooden crate. In the corner, tied to a rusted metal chair, was my daughter. Her mouth was covered with heavy black tape, her eyes wide with absolute terror as she locked gaze with me. But before I could move toward her, a shadow stepped out from the darkest corner of the room, the distinct metallic click of a revolver cocking echoing through the small space. Marcus stood there, a jagged scar stretching across his jaw, a souvenir from the prison yard grinning at me, with teeth stained yellow from years of rot. "Welcome to the reunion, old friend," he whispered, gesturing with the barrel of the gun toward my daughter. She was so eager to learn about her daddy's famous legacy. It's a shame she had to find out how it ends. Thank you so much for watching today's story. If this video touched your heart, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Solo Dad Stories for more touching tales about family, dignity, and second chances. Let us know in the comments below which moment stayed with you the most. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.